Abusia be ma kwa ba shonko so edeba Ghana politics avenue so abusia yambonra yensemu breaking news bi aba eno NHS ya project ato ye screen no enchen ede amamuno Nana Afriyie defies party directive set to contest in Ablekuma North rerun tomorrow. Abusia kokrudu asem aba eye NPP PC ayefre no Afriyie HSA NPP mpanyinfo ede letter ba abonten say omo boycott Ablekuma North rerun of elections no maame ne say onte ase ne ente ase kira into no Justin Kudua ene NPP mpanyinfo no wabo omo asem na to agu ono de o say obe contest ene asanso a contest echina into abusia say de a free NPP party no mu ye de eba no it is a MPP paying for ne almost almost ase omumba bet PC na ankasa de or say ono no or kwa kujina na wakwa face NPP for no abusu attention a arise ewo NPP amanyuku no eno ho nsem na yeguso de bremo any update bia ebekọ so afa eho side bia no ye de bremo unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma afofron so ensa into me enkabi aha Ghana politics avenue so yem breaky news bia efa politics ho any political trending stories are make waves no yen so yaji atum say ye de bebremo medam ase
opportunity to wish Ebo Backman and Yellow Man a happy birthday this morning. Now I wish I wouldn't live to see this day that the NPP in an election involving themselves and other political parties at Ablekuma North is saying they are not taking part. This is very, very surprising to me.
You were surprised to hear?
I'm surprised, and I think those that are leading the party astray. Because it's very simple. If you read our constitution, Article 45C indicates the institution mandated to run an election in this country. Now, if we are going to go into the history of why we are where we are today, I don't think they will have any legs to stand on. On the 10th of December, you were in this country when the same Electoral Commission declared Rabina Obi as the winner of the election. I'm sure you were here. Now, fast forward, the same Electoral Commission came back on the 20th and told us that the earlier declaration was null and void. The entire country accepted.
Because it was made under duress.
That is what they said.
That's what they said, yes.
Yes. Then the matter went to court. There was a declaration that there has to be a recollation. You have three interested parties in this whole election. The NPP, the NDC, the Electoral Commission. All of them at this stage are saying that the foundation document based on which you can make a declaration, all of them don't have the originals. So if you are an institution, what would you do? Are you going to rely on a photocopy or a stamped copy or whatever to declare your results? That wouldn't be allowed or be accepted by any other party. So for me, the reasonable thing that should have even been done was to rerun the entire constituency.
The 281 polling stations.
They should have been rerun, the entire constituency.
But some of them were properly verified.
No.
Those pink sheets are available. Why do they need to rerun the entire constituency?
You have photocopies.
For some?
For some. No, yes. Now as we speak, they are telling us that none of their originals exist.
All the 291?
That's what they are telling us. NDC, NPP, Electoral Commission. But you see, to do the rerun, there has to be a caveat that the returning officer for Ablekuma North, together with the presiding officer, must be prosecuted to serve as a future deterrent. Either than that, what is
prosecuted?
Yes, they have to be prosecuted.
For what reason?
I mean, they were. How come they lost the pink sheets?
There was violence.
Have they reported the matter to police? Has it come to your notice that if there was any violence, people illegally?
Well, it was telecast on TV.
Telecasting is different. The legally mandated body to deal with such matters is that when you are attacked, you go to police station to report. Have you heard or seen the Electoral Commission go to the police to report this matter for the police to do an investigation? All we are being told is verbal, that we were attacked. So that if you do not prosecute them, they have to go to court and explain how they lost the pink sheets. Either than that, tomorrow what is going to happen is that if I go into an election and I know very well that I've lost, or I will connive with the electoral commissioner or the presiding or the returning officer there to say, get your pensions bent, so that there will be a rerun, and that will be a deterrent. I have looked at the constituency as I said, the original declaration was for the NDC. Later, it was cancelled. They say coalition. You go into this man says, I don't trust your pink sheet. Nobody trusts the other's pink sheet. So what would you do? Wouldn't you do a rerun?
But there's a specific number that's in contention. Not the entire 281 are in contention.
No, so now they say 19. Go and do a rerun. That is what they are saying they will do.
Because those 19 were not verified by the EC.
So they say go back, and the people say they won't go. But I don't have a problem. If they are not going, the Electoral Commission must save us. Already we have spent 786 million on this election, the last election. That amount could have faced, what do you call it, in Sawompo Kwasi for us to be having our peace of mind. You understand? But does it not strike you that now all of us are singing the same tune? That the Electoral Commission is incompetent? This was a political party that when some of us were busy in the run-up to the 2024 elections telling them that these people will lead this country into abyss, they said no. They were competent. You remember the issue of Pusiga, when 38 voters had their votes transferred illegally. It was the same political party that was defending them. So what has changed? That today you say they are not competent. It tells you that we must always and always go for competence. Now, to narrow it down to the various polling stations that are outstanding, the 19, I have looked at it. And that's why I say I'm very surprised that if today the NPP says they will not go into any election involving Ablekuma, then it's a source of concern. Why are you bringing this Yembobio business?
They say they have evidence that their candidate won.
Which evidence? They are not mandated to declare who won an election. They can express an opinion. The only mandated body to declare who won an election is the Electoral Commission. Has the Electoral Commission told you that their candidate won? They must go. You have an election that involves a polling station at Nyameche. Growing up and knowing the composition of voters in Nyameche, who can convince me that the NPP, if it is well organized, cannot go there and win? Polling stations in Awoshi, NPP is now running away from Bintu. Polling stations in Bintu, the stronghold. Then something monumentally wrong somewhere. You see, we have to, if they say they are not going, in all this that they are doing, I believe and I agree with the tester that said that they are on the ground campaigning, that if you say you are not going to take part in an election, you write officially. It's not a word of mouth. As we speak, they have not done so. They are only doing press conferences. Yesterday, I saw them singing, busily singing. We are the new patriotic party. The elephants are winning symbol. The winning symbol is a go and express the winning symbol there. So that you win the elections and then all of us be free. I am not interested in who is going to win, whether NDC or MPP. What I'm interested in is that the people of Ablekuma will give this country that candidate, that parliamentarian, who will go and make good laws, make sure that the executive is held in check.
All right.
To our benefit. And not, I won't go when you have not written officially to anybody. But the most important part is that the electoral officers that supervise this election, they must be prosecuted so that this will not repeat itself in future.
For what crime? What exactly is the crime?
How they managed to get the pin sheets missing.
Well, when you say prosecuted, you mean like charged with a criminal
offense? Yes.
And which offense would that be?
Willful negligence.
Okay.
They have negligence. This is a willful act. I don't believe for a moment that a tag deliberately went to the electoral commissioner or the returning officer, took the pin sheets and bent it. For what reason?
Did you see the broadcast on TV?
I saw everything.
But
I didn't see the bent pin sheet from the EC. Did you see it yourself?
All right. Let me come to Dr. Zato. Do you agree with anything Solomon has said?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
And once again, good morning to you and good morning to all your listeners. I just wanted to start by looking at, by making some points very clear. I have sat on this same table here and also there on key points to defend the Electoral Commission. I have sat there to explain, to defend what they've done, to look at their actions and to try to analyze them. So I wanted to put on record that I have done that over the past, and I've done that, in fact, even as recently as possible.
Okay.
because I've tried to look at what it is that they are doing. It's often the case that in Ghana, in this country, ruling parties or the government tend to support the Electoral Commission, whilst opposition parties tend to oppose the Electoral Commission. I have a theory on that, and I've espoused that theory too.
What's your theory?
When you are in opposition, sometimes it's difficult for you to make headlines. When you are in opposition, sometimes it's difficult for you to make the national headlines. So the EC becomes an easy target for almost all opposition parties. When you are attacking the EC, you're able to bring your supporters out. You're able to get your supporters animated, agitated, and you're able to get your supporters around a common target enemy. Your argument becomes very simple. We are winning these elections, but the EC is trying to steal the elections. It gets your supporters fired up. It gets them want to demonstrate. It gets them want to protect what they think they are winning, and it becomes easier for you to organize them for elections. So I think that has helped almost all opposition parties to come to think that the best way to get your people fired up, the best way to get your base fired up, the best way to get your base actually out in campaign is to always be against the Electoral Commission.
That's your
so
theory.
Over the years, you have seen that roller coaster of support for and against the Electoral Commission come in place. So that is my theory about that, and I've espoused that. But in this particular case, I want everybody, we need to sit down and ask ourselves, it's about what I call interest, rational self-interest. What is the interest here? And who are the key players? And what do they seek to achieve? We can ask that question to try to begin to understand that it is about interest. I want to start with the principal players in this game, the Electoral Commission. You conducted an election. And since December up to July, let me say up to June, the Electoral Commission has told us that they have what it takes to announce the results. That they have the pink sheets, they have everything. They said the only thing they need is for the police service to provide them security to announce the results. That is their position. That is their position for about 6 months now. They have been very clear and very categorical that, look, we've got what it takes despite the disruption, despite whatever. We've got everything it takes to declare the results. We know we can do it. There were some alterations, but we have rescued enough data to be able to declare it. Give us enough security to do our job. That is their position. And as late as when my own, I want to say senior bossman went to Parliament, he said, rerunning is the last resort. We are not even thinking about that. It's the very last resort on the oath in Parliament. So the EC's position has been that, look, we do not need a rerun. We are absolutely categorically clear that a rerun is not needed. We don't want it. It is not called for. It's unnecessary. That is the EC's position. Ghana Police Service provide us with security and peace. We will declare the results. 1. 2. The other biggest party in this is the National Democratic Congress. They have been very categorical from the beginning that, look, we need a rerun. That the documents we have, their value, their merit has been depreciated. And so we cannot depend on them to run an election. So we need a rerun. That has also been word very clear and very categorical. Up until, let me say, June again. For 6 months, the NDC's position has been that we need to rerun. 3, the New Patriotic Party has also had a very consistent message that, look, we don't need a rerun. We know we've won, and that we have the documents to announce it. I'm talking about interests and positions. This has been the position of all of them. The case went to court, and the court ruled. The court actually agreed with the EC. And I thought the court actually mandated the Ghana Police Service to help provide peace and security for the 3 remaining police stations so that you can collate them and run. So again, the court has agreed with the request of the EC that, listen, the court having listened to all the arguments, the court here be a neutral arbiter. The NDC has a vested interest, the NPP has a vested interest. They went to a neutral arbiter. After hearing everything, the court says, Ghana Police Service provides security and peace and safety for them to declare results. That is the position of all of them. 1, has the Ghana Police Service provided the security and the citizens? Has the Ghana Police Service complied with the court? I don't know about that. Okay, then the question they asked. That was the position of inertia. That's where they all stood. I learned something very, very tiny about forces of movement in secondary school.
Is that
you
science?
understand? Yeah, science, physics. I did general aspect. I read aspect. A body at rest continue to be at rest, right? Yeah. And a body in motion continue to be in motion until an external force. You went to.
I did ask.
Oh, sir, I thought you went to Kumasi Legon. Okay, let's go.
Don't ever say Kumasi.
Kumasi Legon. Outside the Kumasi Legon. So let's go. Let's come back to Kumasi Legon.
Your point is.
So the body EC was at rest with their position.
Okay.
NDC was at rest with their position. MP was at rest with their position. What external force moved the EC to change their position? Why did the EC change their position? All of a sudden, you went to Parliament and you took an oath before the people's representative and you said it's the last resort. Why have you turbocharged from the opposition to a last resort? What happened? So I'm beginning to look around and say, there must have been something. There must have been a force so volcanic, so powerful, so strong to have made the EC move from its own position to this new position.
What's your theory?
Somebody threatened the EC chair and her 2 deputies their jobs.
That's wild.
Somebody said the national chairman of the NDC went on air to say, we will get you people fired. You will lose your jobs. And the EC panicked. The EC says, okay, what do you want? Or what do we think you want? That's my theory again. I'm from my theory. My theory is that the external force that compelled the EC to change this position is because somebody dangled their jobs in front of them. Somebody said, I'm going to get you fired. And they did this. My theory then is that the EC officials did this to save their asses. Oh, sorry, pardon my French. To save their jobs. And that they are doing this because they are afraid and they know that, or they believe strongly in that the national chairman of the NDC has the power and can follow through with that threat to move them from their jobs. So give him what he wants. Give the NDC what they want. And that for me, that is why all of a sudden, even though a court says go ahead and let the police, they've disagreed with that, even though their own position consistent for 6 months. I want us to always understand that fact. For 6 months has been that no rerun is run. They have changed all of a sudden. They have metamorphosed. They have moved from no, we won't do a rerun to yes, we will. My theory is that a force so big threatened them. And that force, I think, is the NDC chairman saying that you will lose your jobs. And so they are doing it.
So this is to what?
To appease the NDC so that they won't move them from their job. That is my theory.
You're saying they did a 360 from their statement in Parliament?
They did, yes, they did.
For the purposes of securing their jobs?
That's not my theory.
That's your theory?
Yes. My theory is that this 360 move they've seen, this approach and this somersault they've done, this flip-flopping they have done is to save their behinds, is to save their jobs. That's my theory. Then the question becomes, it serves a very bad precedence, like what Solomon was saying. Because what you have done is also a reward for the tax that disrupted the country.
A reward? A
reward for those tax, for the people. Because, again, on TV we saw that people disrupted it, the country. Today you are rewarding those people. Why did they disrupt it? They disrupted the counting or the verification because they either thought they were losing. Because if you are winning, you won't disrupt it. If you are winning an election, you want it to go clean so that your candidate is disrupted. The only reason why you would disrupt an election is if you feel or if you think that you are losing. Today, by giving them all they want, you are rewarding the tax that disrupted elections. Then the question to me is that it has a potential cascading effect. Going forward, losing candidates may think that, oh, this is the best way to disrupt the election and to have a rerun. Losing candidates may be emboldened. Or political tax. Remember, this country, we have to deal with political thuggery. Political tax may now begin to think that, or political parties in and of themselves may begin to think that we have discovered a new way of winning elections. Thuggery. Send tax to disrupt a coalition if we are losing and win. That is a bad precedent for the future. And as election, and since our democracy is based on this, we need to find a way to make sure that we protect the electoral process. Rewarding tax is not that. Then finally, I begin to try to understand then, what does it say for all of us as we keep moving to electoral areas? We need to find a way to, one, reduce violence at polling stations. We need to find ways to reduce thuggery at polling stations. We need
Okay, abusua we ne ensema ekoso ewo political highway ne so NPP PC NHS otutu bi mane eye Justin Kudua ne nkofo se ono no on boycott ne boycott china okwa ko face eye NDs ne electoral commission e beda masesa mo je pene kokoti sa ensem we e de mi aha e Ghana politics avenue so unsubscribe ya subscribe like share ma afofron so answer into me and Kebi. And don't forget to click on the notification bell. Send any update be able drop piano. Also on sa to me aka. Medamase.